Welcome to another episode of BizJet TV. Today we're going to be talking about the limitations that the FAA have put on the Gulfstream G500 and G600 and what caused this and what lesson we can learn from this situation. Now, on the 9th of May, just a few days ago, the FAA issued this airworthiness directive as a result of two incidents happening on the Gulfstream G500 G600, and they're limiting the aircraft to 15 knot crosswinds, also 5 knots of gusts. If it was gusting more than 5 knots, it can't operate. And also they're asking people to come in with a 10 knot higher approach speed, which obviously means you have to calculate you're going to need more runway to land. So these restrictions have been put on this, which is not helping those that are operating the G500 and G600, because it's putting severe limitations on it, which a lot of owners are deciding not to fly their Gulfstream, because you just never know when you get the other end if the wind's going to be 15 knots, 16 knots, 10 knots, gusting 5, 10, 8, and maybe the runway's not long enough. So this is very inconvenient, and as I always tell people, when you're buying a private jet, you're not buying a jet, you're buying time. Now, this situation that's happened to Gulfstream is not new. It's happened to other manufacturers as well. And let me just explain a bit the backstory, what happened here. Now, this is what the FAA has said. They said there were these two events. It said in both events, the angle of attack protection function alpha limiter of the flight control computer FCC engaged and overrode the pilot pitch control inputs, which the flight control law erroneously predicted would exceed the stall AOA, angle of attack. This resulted in a high rate of descent landing on the runway. The agency noted in the May 9 directive. Additionally, the pilots in both events had full aft stick input when the aircraft contacted the runway, and the full up pitch control did not arrest the high rate of descent landing. So basically had a hard landing in both situations. So it was a software glitch that kicked in. Of course, this also is an aeroplane that it's the first aeroplane that Gulfstream made with a side stick and fly-by-wire. So the fly-by-wire side stick situation, the software and everything, it ended up doing this and having this hard landing twice. And so what Gulfstream are doing now, they're going back with their engineers, they're rewriting the software, they're trying to find out how to correct this. They're also having the test pilots fly some flights and test the situation before this can be recertified again to fly with without that 15 knot crosswind limitation and all the other limitations we talked about. Now, as I said, this is not new. In my experience, I years ago was operating the Dornier 328 jet. I was one of the first pilots in the world to be qualified to fly this aeroplane, and it was basically a modified Dornier 328 turboprop, and I'd actually flown the prototype of the jet. What they'd done is they took the propellers off the airplane, put two jet engines on, and reinforced the brakes. So I did all my training in the airplane and then started operating this out of Bergamo for a company called Gandalf Airlines, which no longer exists, and we were flying in and out Paris Charles de Gaulle, which is quite a busy airport, and we would take off after an Air France A320 and we'd outclimb them. This thing it climbed at 5,000 feet a minute because the engines they put on there were really, really powerful for the weight of the airplane. So, this thing just climbed like a rocket, and we'd outclimb faster aircraft. It wasn't very fast because it had a straight wing, but, this, air traffic controllers were a bit, what is this airplane? And the airplane had snags. Because the airplane was designed to be a turboprop, not to be a jet, and so it wasn't very successful in the market. It was an interesting airplane to fly, quite tricky on landing, and that a turboprop I think performed a lot better. But as pilots, things were happening, and the solutions weren't in the checklist, so we had to come up with solutions and then relay that information back to the manufacturer. And as a result of while this was happening, the aircraft did get grounded a few times. So what I'm saying is, if you are in the market to buy a private jet and you see all this glitzy new airplanes that have just been certified, and you want to be one of the first in the world to fly one of these airplanes, beware that there could be glitches, and if there are glitches, your airplane could be grounded. And so if you're buying a plane, you're buying time, the last thing you want is your airplane to be grounded. So what my advice usually is when I'm talking to somebody and they're all excited about buying the latest and greatest private jet, I say, wait a minute. And we were having this conversation just a few weeks ago with a client who loves the Gulfstream G600, and don't get me wrong, great airplane. As soon as they sort this problem out, which I'm sure Gulfstream will solve out sold soon. You know, it's going to be a great aeroplane. But I suggested we go for a G650 because it's proven technology out there. Any snags that the G650 had in the beginning have been solved, and so you won't get grounded like you like these people with the G600. Not that they are grounded, but you know, 15 knot crosswind limitation, 5 knots gusts, and the extra landing distance because of the 10 knots extra approach speed, which is recommended by the FAA. You know, this is not allowing the aircraft to perform as it was designed to perform. I mean, people buy the aeroplane because Gulfstream said it could do certain things, and now they put a limitation on it. Now, again, I'm not pointing my finger at Gulfstream. You know, other manufacturers so have had these problems. Every manufacturer has these problems at some stage when they're trying to introduce new technology. It's just part of the process, and so it's normal that these things happen. But you know, as a private jet buyer, you need to sort of be very careful when you're buying one of these aircraft, in particular new, because there could be snags. I'm not saying they're going to be snags, but there could be snags. So I always recommend, you know, getting a one-to-one advice. Reach out to me on orvilleaviation.com, and we'll schedule you in for a Zoom call, and we can get specific, find out more about what your needs are, and take that from there and see what we can do to help you as far as, you know, buying an aircraft. We also organise charters as well, so if you're thinking of chartering, you can contact me and I can arrange charters for you. I've been doing that for a number of clients as more and more people are coming into the market after COVID. And also, if you want to lease a jet instead of buying one, or instead of chartering one, we can arrange that. 6 months, a year lease. Advantage of the lease is, you know, you have availability to an aircraft 24/7. You can even put your name on it for the term of the lease, with your own crew, and that there is an advantage in having a lease if your circumstances dictate that that's the solution for you. And that's why I recommend getting on a one-to-one call. The first call's free, by the way. So that's what I can recommend you doing here. So comment below, tell me your experience of maybe operating a brand new aircraft. And talking about brand new aircraft, why don't you check out this video here I just did on the Falcon 6X, which is about to be certified. Very interesting airplane produced by Dassault. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on BizJet TV. And remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, click on the notification bell, and let's get the comments go. I'd love to hear from you and what your thoughts are on this. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on this episode of BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.